Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Go ahead, comment down below. Let me know where y'all from. Let me know who y'all rocking with, man. Hey, Houston is hot right now. You already know what happened this morning with Tsf, saucewalka, 14 members getting all captured for the Rico, man. Hey, when the Rico comes, they do not play. You guys already know about the success rate in the 90% or higher. And this is nothing new, man. They've been watching TSF for a minute. They've been watching Saucewalka for a minute. Did y'all forget what he did in L.A.? Remember that whole situation about the whole commotion that happened in L.A.? And then, from that on, but they've been watching the whole thing going on for a minute now because they already in town for what happened with Takeoff. They've been watching Mob Ties. You all know that it's two major groups in Houston. It's going to be either TSF with Saucewalka and them, Sosa Man and Peso, or it's going to be Mob Ties with jprince Jr., Jazz, all of those guys, right? So that's the two sides of it. So if they already looking at TSF, then you got to understand that they might already be looking at Mob Ties, or maybe the reason that they're looking at TSF is something related, something they have in common. Either way, 14 people getting captured, somebody's going to tell out of those 14 people, and there might end up being questions being asked about Mob Ties. They might ask, what are they doing over there since we got y'all over here captured already, to get their way out of it, to get their charge dropped or lowered or whatever. They might have to tell, sing. You know how it goes with everything. Everybody nowadays, it's like they all cool with it, right? They with the group. They hanging out with everybody, going everywhere, doing whatever they want until the Rico hit. And then they start asking you these questions about, okay, what did y'all do? Can you tell on this person? Can you tell on that person? And that's when everybody catches a plea. Same whole thing that happened with Gunna. Same whole situation, basically. And matter of fact, they was just laughing at Gunna for this whole thing about how he got out and everything, and how he's copped the plea, and how he told and everything that happened in that video we seen. But then now they never expected that it was going to happen to them, let alone happen in the same exact week, man. So like I said, when they come with the Rico, they going to make sure that they swoop up out of every little corner. It was a whole takedown when they really pulled up on them. When they seen them, all the dudes at one spot, because they all hanging out together. They all hung out. It was a parking lot full of whips. It looked like a dealership over there. I'm talking about nonstop Maybachs, Bentleys, Cadillacs, and everything, right? They had every sort of car you could think of, basically. All different colors, different wheels, man. So they knew exactly where they were at, and that's how they pulled up. They pulled up early. As soon as they went out to step out for lunch, they was getting the hibachi and the barbecue. So when they were waiting for the barbecue to be done, that's when they were in the parking lot. Some of them already had the to-go boxes, and they seen the 5-0 come in. They seen the feds over the roof jump down with on the ropes and literally swing down into the windows. That's when the dude dropped his to-go box, and right on the ground, boom, and barbecue spilled everywhere. And he tried to go run out the back, only to open the door to see a full tactical unit team right there. They said, nope, you're not going anywhere. So they rounded him up in there, in the kitchen, outside in the parking lot. It was TSF members everywhere, man. The whole thing was crazy. A lot of people looking like, what is going on? People were driving, rubbernecking, sticking their head out the window to try to see what was actually going on in the whole parking lot. Because it's like they were in the area with little businesses around and everything. This is Houston. This is a big city. So it's a lot of people out there, a lot of people driving by, and everybody's driving. So they seen what was going on. They're like, oh, dang, they got the TSF guys. They didn't think that it was going to happen. They didn't think things was going down. They thought that they were more under the radar. But no, they're watching, because they already watching people from the other sides. They watching people from other hoods. So it's like you really have to be careful. And they basically was getting caught. They got caught. So what happened is they had to come and get everything under control, tell them exactly what they had. They had fresh, hot papers printed out saying that they could pull up and basically take everybody down to the local area for questioning and everything, and died it right there. The whole thing basically came to a pause for what was going on with TSF. You got people like Peso might be thrown in the mix of this. Sosa, man, you don't even know, man. So that's like a lot of people really rocking with TSF. And so and then there's the Mob Ties guys. So what's really going to happen with all of that, man? A lot of people in Houston is going to be shocked because they're going to be like, dang, how did they get them? Because there's a lot of people who like do the same exact things or whatever, right? And so now they probably going to show an example out of them because they're supposed to be millionaires and they still was fooling around doing whatever it was to get them in trouble. And so, by what they show, they show they millionaires, that they got, all this money coming in. It's hitting right now. They've had albums drop. They got checks coming in from shows and everything. They got millions or whatever. All them whips in the parking lot, but they still doing something shady, maybe be under the table, backdoor type of situations where it's like something going on. But whatever it was, they was watching them tight and close with binoculars and telescope and everything, and zooming in and catching them exactly when whatever's going on, taking pictures of it all, because they had to have the proof to be able to pull up on them like that, the way they did, because it was a whole scene. It looked like a movie. And so, because they were all like, wait, what are you doing this for? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. And so they were like, yeah, but we got the paperwork right here. It's freshly printed. It's the proof right there. So that's what they were doing. That's how it was all like, man. And so that means that this whole thing's been ongoing behind the scenes for a long time. They don't just do Ricos like overnight, you know what I mean? Like they have to watch them for a minute, find like patterns and finds the same thing they've been doing over and over again. Maybe even had informants, maybe even had witnesses and people that told, people that got locked up for other stuff, but they were part of TSF, who really knows exactly what it was that set off this whole thing and what they was doing. But as everybody knows, it's probably the same old thing. There's nothing new under the sun. They're doing the same old thing that people been doing for a minute. And it's the thing is that they all get caught at the end of the day. They're not like super geniuses out here who's evading and finding ways to like never get caught for anything. That usually doesn't happen too much. And so that's the thing, is like, whatever it was, it probably was definitely not worth it, because they should have been doing big moves with the money they had coming in. They should have been making moves with that. Because if they weren't making moves and they were doing other things, but they were making moves that was going to cause them to lose it all, they risking way too much. So that's what's going on, man. You can't be out there you had to be legit with everything. Whatever it was they were doing, if you get hit with a Rico, that means you was not doing things legit. You was doing all sorts of crazy stuff, like the whole thing with Young Thug and everything. It just so happened to be about actual like people driving by and pulling up and sliding on the block and stuff. And so we don't know if it could be the same thing with TSF. You already know what that situation that happened with saucewalka in LA. So it already went to that level. And then you got to think about anything else that some of the people that's probably not even saucewalka. It could just be the people in the group that got caught for something that they were doing alternative on the side, like as their own side hustle that nobody knew about. But because they were actually connected to TSF, or if they had got caught or talked to, they could have made something like new proof that could go against everybody instead of just that one person. So that's why people have to watch who they hang around. That's why you got to make sure you keep a small circle, and it's like no confusion with any of the people about what they got going on or what they into or anything like that. And that's another thing, is that when you joining into something like a group, TSF or anything, like it could be a team or whatever. So you had to make sure that everybody focused and on the same page. Like if you had a team of a business or whatever, right? You got to make sure everybody focused on the same page. That's the thing. But then when you go back and look at the TSF situation, it's like everybody was kind of doing some, like they never all sat down together and said, this is the goal, this is the plan, this is the objective as this business team, we got to do this and that. They never sat down and said that. It was almost just like they just come and hang out and chill at the studio, do whatever they want. Everybody feels like they just kind of independent, contracting the whole thing. So people were doing still halfway in the street and halfway in the TSF music thing. And so it could have been situations from that where they were still 1 foot in the door, 1 foot in the streets and whatever. And that could have been a situation that got one person caught up. And then just because they were already in TSF and maybe this, it all went down. So subscribe to the channel, y'all.